It is very easy to dismiss community work as non impactful or as something that isn't important. But should I shock you that there are a lot of companies out there that invest in community, they invest in their community, they invest in community management. And yes, this might come as a shock, but I'm going to show you a few reasons why these companies invest in community. First off, they do that because of customer retention. They have engaged members who are loyal. So think of it like you have a community of 1,000 people, 500 people, 100 people, 20,000 people, 30,000 people who are directly linked with a company or with a brand or with an organization. Those are indirectly your customers, right? Because they are associated with your brand, they're associated with your product. So they are people who are probably using your products, they are engaged members, or people who are about to use your product. So think of it like having your huge chunk or some part of your percentage of your customer base in one community. Now, the second one is product feedback. Communities provide insights for improvement. When you have this section of your customers in one community, they tend to provide feedback for your product. So think of it like you're trying to roll out a new feature or you're trying to update the product, you're trying to do something, and you can quickly ask questions like what are you guys looking for? What would make life easy for you? How would you approach this if we were to release this? Is this something you would want? It kind of helps you brainstorm, helps you prototype and think of ways that you can better support your users. Right, so that is where you get to have first-hand information because these are the people that are using your product. These are the people that are directly being impacted by your organization. So they are the ones that can give you direct feedback and say, oh, we don't want this again or we want this. The third one is brand advocacy. Members eventually become your brand champions. Think of it like when someone joins your community, they benefit something, maybe they take a course or they get to use your product or they get to access certain discounts or stuff. Before you know it, they're going to start plugging in their friends. And when they plug in their friends and their friends are sold, their friends plug in their friends plug in their other friends, and it keeps going on and on and on in that cycle. And it's basically the most organic way of tapping into people's audiences without necessarily paying. You provide value and then you get to tap into their audience at the same time. Because tell me why, if I tell my friends that, oh, I'm a part of this community, they're really helping me grow as a community manager. And then let's say I have two people that are community managers and they have their own network or their own circle of people who are also community managers. They get to extend the word, and before you know it, the community starts growing. And that's how people come together to learn, grow, and organic marketing literally just starts from there because you are building it from scratch with people who are actively using your products or who are actively benefiting from your organization and can speak on behalf of your organization, right? Sometimes community members are the one that will say, don't you have a brand advocacy program or don't you have an ambassadorship program? I'd love to be a part of it. It all starts from providing value to them. Then we also have support deflection. Active communities answer questions, reducing support tickets. Think of it like you have a community of 1,000 people using your product, actively using your product. And then you have to set up a customer support team to always answer questions, to always help them sort out issues. It can be exhausting because how many support persons can you hire? Even with the use of AI, sometimes you still need that human touch and feel. But in a community, you have a group of people who are actively using your product and they have probably gone through that stage where the new members are going through. And in an active and engaged community, people tend to answer questions. So let's say someone says, oh, hi everyone, I just joined, I'm struggling with this. Even before the community manager gets to say, this is how to go about this, there's always a community member that says, oh, yeah, I've come across this issue before. This is how I sorted it out, or this is an article that helped me. That's what community does for companies. So it helps them reduce that whole burden of having to hire a full support team to support their customers. So when I talk about companies that invest in communities, I'm talking about companies like Notion, I'm talking about Figma, I'm talking about Duolingo, and even Reddit. There's so many communities out there, and sometimes they are tied to either organizations, probably non-governmental organizations or non-profit organizations, or they are tied to products or brands. It just depends. But their communities are literally an integral growth and user satisfaction. So it means that the real essence of having this community as part of the brand, as part of the organization, as part of the products is to help with growth and user satisfaction. When you join such communities, you find answers to any problem that you're probably having trying to navigate a particular journey that is associated with that brand. So, as a community manager, by managing communities effectively, you're directly impacting business success. And I did mention that sometimes our work can come off as unimpactful because we do a lot of behind the scenes, we do a lot of relationship management, we do a lot of creating playbooks, a lot of creating systems. So sometimes it might be a little difficult for you to fully express the impact of the work you're doing. And that's why you need to be part of a community manager's community. Because again, you need to learn how other community managers are doing it.